8, 7, power, 6, 5, power, 4, power, 3, 2, one more. Good. Under here. Roll under the bed. Good job.
That lawnmower, that's that. Start that.
I made the decision to train in DC because, you know, I haven't been there.
Damn Prime TV has just released new footage of Gervonta in the training camp just immediately after the announcement of his rematch with Lamont Roach. Gervonta has hit the ground running and wasted no time in getting into the gym, and guess what? Davis's head coach Calvin Ford is back in the gym with him. The decision to bring back Calvin Ford has always been a no-brainer, seeing how badly Gervonta performed in the one. Match. Calvin Ford wasn't in his corner or in his training camp as the head trainer. To avoid such mishap, Calvin Ford has taken his rightful place.
I made the decision to train in DC because, you know, I haven't been in the coldness in a minute. I haven't even trained in the coldness in a minute, so I feel though this will help me. I'm from Baltimore. He's not from DC. That's what I learned. I thought he was from DC too. DC my second home. I've been coming up here since I was 9 years old, even younger. So I'm not really trying to get in his personal business.
The footage began with Gervonta doing some intense training to work on his power again. Tank is known not to fancy so much of weightlifting and muscle building, as he feels it slows fighters down. He once trolled one of his opponents for.
We did how many rounds? We probably did at least 8 straight.
Yeah, but you in the bag for about 8 too?
Yeah.
That's good. You're not in bad shape.
Yeah. This guy, pick up my
We did how many rounds? Like 8 straight, yeah, but you about 8, yeah, they good you're not in bad shape, yeah, got my. But after seeing how ineffective his punches on Lamont Roach, where he's decided to lift some weight and build some muscle, then the footage showed how he would normally start an average day, where he'll normally go on an early morning jog. Afterwards he'd do some warm down, get breakfast, then get ready for the day's work. His day then involves sparring, shadow boxing, work on the mitt, specific training on speed punches and head movements. Clearly Gervonta isn't taking this fight lightly, as the first leg forced him into losing a boxing record he had worked for over 30 fights. Davis is preparing in the gym for his upcoming test and appears to be taking things very seriously, even more seriously than he did in the first fight, and the reason isn't far-fetched. The Baltimore champion and his next opponent Lamont Roach had one of the most intense boxing matches in 2025, and if there's a fighter that'll test both his weapons and his resolve, Lamont Roach is that fighter, as he's done that already. And recently Gervonta made a shocking revelation about himself when he said his biggest fear is the fear of being embarrassed and mocked by boxing fans, the kind of mockery he got after taking a knee against Lamont Roach on March 1st.
Catch the rip, baby. Catch the rip, baby. Dance with this shit. Where goes up, come down.
And to avoid that kind of mistake, he's gotten Calvin Ford to put him through his training sessions again, the same man who met him since he was a young boy and taught him the science of boxing till he became a world champion.
Well, maybe 2 or 3 times. Tank being the winner. They sparred a few times. Tank got the best of the spar. They're just bigger and stronger now, you know? Older.
Now, it's some word out there that
in a conversation with Fight Hype, Ford cited their previous meetings and battles. In addition, the Baltimore native coach admitted that Roach fought a great fight and has pushed the button, placing the ball in Tank's court, as the boxing world expects a huge response from him. He declared they've known each other since the amateurs, the Silver Gloves, and everything. They grew up with each other. Everybody's talking about all that stuff. Why Roach? Because he took the fight and it's good for the Community Roach and him had back and forth battles and whatnot. It's going to be a pretty interesting fight because Roach comes to fight. I think it's a great fight, said Ford.
Older.
Now, it's some word out there that Lamont say, you know, he got some film that don't make Tank look too good. What could that? How could that affect, you know, the outcome on December 14th?
Shit, man. Tank, last 4 or 5 opponents all had film like, about how they beat him up in sparring. If that's the case, that shit happen. But fight night.
According to Ford, it would be an interesting fight because Roach never shied from exchanges and would come to fight despite his reputation as a skilled fighter. The fans initially had different thoughts about it, as this is the 3rd time the World Boxing Association champion has picked a fight with someone from a lower division to defend his gold strap. People are going to do that. That's what fans do. They give bad criticism, said Ford, criticizing fighters when they take opponents in, especially when they do it repeatedly throughout their careers, as Tank Davis has done. I remember when everyone was saying I should let Pitbull fight Tank again. They were talking about that, and then when he won that belt, World Boxing Association light welterweight, boom, I don't get involved with that. I just prepare him and get him ready to put on a great performance for the fans and whatnot. Like I said, we just focus on the fight in front of us, and that's the fight in front of us, said Ford about Roach being the next title defense for Gervonta in August. It remains to be seen whether Roach will utilize the experience of their past encounters and make it a stepping stone into handing Gervonta Davis his first loss.
Oh man, that's a good fight. That's a real good fight. I would love to see that. That's a scrappy. That'll be a scrappy fight.
Hey, give me how you compare the styles.
I got Shushu boxing a little bit more than Roach, but Roach can box, but to me,
How your balance felt like?
Fans were eager to question why he's going so hard despite this not being one of the toughest fights of his career. Definitely his fights against Ryan Garcia and Isaac Cruz presented him tougher opponents than this, but he seems to be doing more than he's ever done this time. Well, it could be because it's his last year in boxing based on his announcement last month, and he probably wants to give it his very best and leave the sport on a high. When the ovation is loudest, the video showed Tank doing some body exercises, stretches, and push-ups. The lightweight world champion has missed weight quite a few times during the course of his career, and to avoid what happened in his last fight where he had to miss his grand arrival because he was on the road jogging and making attempts to make
boxing a little bit more than Roach, but Roach can box, but to me he's more of an inside fighter. He fight better on the inside.
And Lamont Roach,
Lamont
Roach is gritty, man. Lamont Roach is gritty. What do you think?
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm right about this or not. Best dude at 130 is O'Shaquie Foster.
I don't know about that. I like Foster. He's tough though, but